So, Rise of Skywalker. It was a movie.
You're wrong. How could you even say that?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Tell us that we have a plan, that there's hope. That's what you got? That's what you brought us to? Coward! No, you are not just a coward, you are a traitor.
Get this man off my bridge.
You're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. Because of what you've done. What you plan to do. Stop.
Yeah, so Rise of Skywalker was a massive visual spectacle. It's got ships. It's got laser swords. It's got laser swords on ships. It's got characters. Sort of. But I think Rise of Skywalker suffers from a larger trend. We live in an era of filmmaking cluttered with massive visual spectacles, filled with so much material you can hardly tell what's going on. We're seeing moments in film that are more and more bombastic, but personally, I lose interest in these scenes because I just don't care about what's happening. I want to use this review as an opportunity to talk about the larger trend in filmmaking that's going on with these types of movies and the degradation of storytelling that we're seeing happening all over the place. Kind of show some of the larger trends and the problems with The Rise of Skywalker and look at how other movies have been doing it poorly and doing it really, really well, and kind of go deeper into what is causing that to happen. What are people doing? What are these decisions that they're making that are good and bad? So let's get into it. There's nothing wrong with big, powerful, loud moments. But more and more I'm noticing that I just simply don't care about what's happening. The Avengers Civil War is probably one of the best examples of this. The movie was set up to be extremely emotional. My problem was there was no real solid reason why the Avengers are fighting in the first place. The most famous scene felt like a sparring match. The whole thing was a joke.
We're still friends, right?
Depends on how hard you hit me.
It was played for comedy, and in the end it seemed like an opportunity to do something that would look cool. The only point in the movie that had any real emotional weight comes after Tony Stark discovers that Bucky killed his father, and Cap was hiding it the whole time. There are many frustrating moments in the Marvel franchise, and ones that almost work. The first Avengers movie was almost great, but how many times have we seen New York blown up? No one cares anymore. All we see is extras running around screaming. No real reason to care about the body count, the millions that were killed in this catastrophic event. Based upon the absolute carnage that happened, I would estimate that about a third of the population of New York just gets wiped out. And look at the ending. Shawarma. You see an even worse example in the DC universe.
Save Martha!
Yeah, I don't even need to say anything else to explain that one. If you want big, massive moments like these to land properly, you have to reinforce it with a lot of small ones. Independence Day started a whole genre of disaster films that worked, but many that didn't, because they failed to understand what made Independence Day so great. Yes, the visual effects were totally groundbreaking and absolutely stunning. But it wouldn't have worked at all without the intense focus on real people and their reaction to something so terrible happening. Probably the best battle sequence of all time comes from Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. The battle for Helm's Deep is a story within a story with multiple emotional beats that all build to the moment when the first arrow is fired. All of these little moments got me so invested in what was happening because the whole thing was building to the main conflict. Just as important was the potential loss that could come from the defeat. The whole race of man was at stake, but it wasn't like the Bond film where the supervillain has a doomsday device that will destroy the Earth. One of the first shots in the film was showing a village being burned down by Saruman and a specific family trying to escape. A mother having to leave her children in order to keep them alive. All of these events, however big and massive they were humanized. These were real people experiencing real trauma, real success, real emotion. On a more personal level, Neo in The Matrix had a massively powerful moment at the end of the film. Being able to stop bullets with his mind. It wouldn't have been nearly as cool if the whole movie didn't specifically follow his character to that exact moment. The entire film had to be constantly building to that very moment in order for it to have the impact that it had. When it was done right, it was incredible. One of the most awesome moments in film history, in my opinion. The Rise of Skywalker could have been that great, but it suffered from trying to build a completely new story on no foundation and trying to create those existential moments out of nothing. I felt nothing when Rey so easily killed Palpatine and inexplicably destroyed hundreds of thousands of random Sith dudes in robes? Question mark. I do understand the fear Rey has after discovering her bloodline and the risk of her turning to the dark side, but it was too little too late. Everyone hates the kiss between Ben and Rey because, once again, it wasn't based on a relationship that ever seemed to lean in that direction.
That feel out of nowhere to anyone else.
Lando showing up with hundreds of thousands of ships that he must have gathered together in a matter of hours when literally no one came to the resistance in Crate. I commend JJ for trying to tackle some deep themes, but there was no foundation from which any of it could have been built upon. We have a lot of thoughts on the Rise of Skywalker, but I thought it would be more valuable to talk about this problem as a whole. In the future, we might be giving you more of an in-depth look about how we would have changed Episode 9 to fit better with the previous movies, and possibly even a rewrite of the whole sequel trilogy together. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys.